You're back with your girl Cooking with Steph. And as I promised you, I will be back with you step by step. As we know, we have went through first, second, and third step. And this is step 4. As you can see, that fork is going right through this smoked meat. When you can stick your fork in it, you see that fork is all the way through it. When you can stick that fork through it, and this is the smoked turkey neck, that fork is able to go right through it. You see that? Now we're going to go ahead on and add these beans. They have been soaking. I'm going to drain as much of the water off as I can get off, because we're going to use this water that we have here. Okay, so here are our pinto beans that have been soaking overnight. They are going into this pot slowly. I'm going to have to decrease some of this water. Just so I can get all of my beans in and it does not boil over. As you can see, it wants to boil over. I'm going to reduce the fire and drain some of the water off. I am going to save the water, however. I want to be able to have a good stir. Not going to sit that there, I'm going to sit that there. You want to be able to have a good stir. From this point, I still like to take more water off, giving it a chance to come to a raging boil. Then I will reduce the heat. Y'all see that? I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my beans. At this time, I'm going to add a little more of chili powder. That would be, I want to say, 2 tablespoons. I am also going to add one of my packs of burrito mix. Remember I said if you cannot find the burrito mix, you can use taco mix. We're flavoring and working this pot up. This time I'm going to add a bag of my burrito taco mix. I'm going to drain a little more of this water off. Being careful not to take out the seasoning. I'm going to let that come to a boil, and we will see if we need to remove any more of the water. We will know when that comes to a boil. I'm going to go ahead and bring the fire up after I get these beans up that went down. I'm going to bring that fire on up to a 4. Then run my dishwater. Once that pot becomes to a raging boil, I will then reduce the fire back down on a simmer mode. Once that pot goes on a reduced and simmer mode, I will be adding the top back on it, allowing it to cook. This pot is looking a lot fuller than I anticipated. So once those beans are done, I will be bringing it over to my crock pot because I still yet have to add my ground beef and my brick of Dolores chili whip. And as you can see, it's not going to fit in there. From this point on, it's going to need another hour to 45 minutes. Cooking on a low. As you can see, it's boiling, it's bubbling from the sides, but remember, we want that boil to come from the bottom up. We want to see that middle part boil. That's when we know we can then reduce the fire and add the top. When I'm cooking, I always like to clean my drain by turning on my garbage disposal, making sure that it is free and clear of food. cleaning my sink out. This water is running. And we're waiting on that pot to come to a raging boil from the bottom up so we can reduce that fire and let the magic happen. Let the magic happen, not happen, happen. It's all right to make mistakes, just correct it. All that is flavor. All of that is flavor. You see the richness already in those beans? You see that richness? Stir from the bottom of your pot. Up under from the bottom. When you can see that meat sitting on top, that's an indication of you have the perfect water level that you need. Waiting on that to boil, and we're gonna cover. Reduce the fire and cook. You see those bubbles in the middle of that pot? That's what you want. Not only are the sides bubbling and boiling, but the bubbles are coming from the middle of that pot. And that's what you want. So at this time, you can give it another good stir. We want to mix all those spices. Ooh, look at that ham hock. She's ready to fall apart. So we're going to cook these chili beans the rest of the way. Now that it's boiling throughout the pot, especially from the bottom up, I am now going to go ahead and allow this to boil uncovered for about 30 to 45 minutes. What I want is I want that water level to come down to yay here. And then I will cover it. Those chili beans are cooking. Can you see the roux from the overpour that's in that bowl? That bowl there is what I call that roux. You see that richness from the bottom up? So you know we have that same richness, even better as it cooks from the bottom of this pot up. Thanks for joining your girl Cooking with Steph. I will be back when those beans are tender, and then we will begin to add the meats. We still have yet to add the ground beef and the brick of Dolores chili brick. I'll be back.